every night could be someone, be someone, be someone. You got a fast car, but is it fast enough so you can fly away? You gotta make a decision. Leave tonight or live and die this way.
Come on, skinny love, just last the year. Poor little soul, we were never here. My, 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 my. Staring at the sink of blood and crushed veneer. Told my love to wreck it all. Cut out all the ropes to let me fall. My, 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 my. Right in the moment his heart is told. And I told you to be patient, and I told you to be fine, and I told you to be balanced, and I told you to be kind. And in the morning I'll be with you, but it will be a different kind. 'Cause I'll be holding all the tickets, and you'll be owning all the fines. Come on, skinny love, what happened here? Circle on the hope in like Brazil. My, 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 my. Silent load is full, so slow on the split. And I told you to be patient, and I told you to be fine, and I told you to be balanced, and I told you to be kind. And now all your love is wasted, then who the hell was I? 'Cause now I'm breaking at the bridges and at the ends of all your lives. Who will love you? Who will fight? And who will fall far behind? Come on, skinny
Yes, I think they are working. Seems so, yeah. Yes. Preferisci presentare da qui o da qui?
Karina, tu seus aquí,
Iniziamo da qua. Poi se vuoi stai qui, se no vai sul podio, lo vuoi.
Lì c'è quello che si vede qua.
Sì. E poi usare questo per...
Sì, sì.
E usi questo per cambiare.
Va bene, al contrario.
You are here? Can we start the thing? Yeah.
Quello che fa la cosa.
Okay.
Josep Maria, Carmona.
Yeah, well, we don't have the one of Arnau and so we just live without it. Yeah.
It's okay. But Josep Maria and Carmona, no.
It's funny because good morning everyone. Maybe
Not Josep
I
Maria.
forget to say.
Not Marco.
Now, okay, once it's coming. Okay, I think
Ya t'ho explicaré jo.
we can start. Welcome everybody. Good morning. It's a pleasure to see you all back here. Yesterday, I hope you agree, we had a fantastic two panels talking about AI practices in the archives and copyright issues. And usually copyright issues are a conversation killer. Instead, this time I think were quite an engaging topic, thanks to our panelists. Today, I think we will bridge a bit with these two panels, hopefully, and we will delve more into the ethical implications of the use of AI in the archives, and also we will talk about AI and literacy in the second panel of the day, and the last one. So I think we are already a bit in delay, so probably we should delve directly into the topic. And for this, I would like and exactly to bridge with the last panel of yesterday about copyright, I would like to invite Dr. Karina Gibert. I pronounced it
Gibert.
Gibert. Okay, sorry. Which is professor at the Politècnica University of Catalonia, UPC. She has a PhD in computer science with a specialization in computational statistics and artificial intelligence. I'm mentioning just a few of your qualifications because there are too many. She's director and co-founder of the UPC Intelligent Data Science and Artificial Intelligence Research Center, and advisor to the Catalan government and the Spanish government and the European Commission on issues related to AI ethics and digital transformation. Her talk will have the title of An Ethical AI for Europe, Legal and Ethical Are Different. Thank you very much. The floor is yours. And give me just quickly to change to your presentation, which is this one. And voila.
Okay, thank you. Well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to this forum. And I will talk a little bit. I don't know if you have been getting a general insight of what artificial intelligence is or it is not, but I will just give a little bit overview. And I want to break a myth that AI is nothing new. It's something that was born in 1956 that has been for years and decades working in the world and solving real problems without that much problematic and ethical issues and so on. So there is another kind of AI that is already consolidated and working and giving a lot of good in health and environmental management and in mobility and so many other things. And in the last years, we have been attending to a big evolution of a little bit disruptive of the discipline because of the development of generative AI and his antecessor that was deep learning. So in the media, we only listen about these words, big data, deep learning, generative AI, and machine learning, but AI is much more than that, much more than that. And it is oriented to problems where the number of possible solutions is so big, so combinatorial, huge, that we don't have computers to analyze all the possible solutions infinite time and to find the optimal. That's the single thing. So the interest of AI is that it is able to find strategies to walk in this huge space of solutions in a strategic way, so we find a reasonably good one in very short time. In regards with the generative AI, that I would say it's the one that is giving more job to your field in this moment, this is something that changes, it evolves from artificial neural networks, and around 2006 we have this deep learning. About 2015 this starts to go in the market, and then we have the adversarial neural networks, the transformers, which are on the basis of this, all these generative AI that starts with image. And later we got the ones regarding text, okay? Apart from all the creative capacity that all this generative AI provides, here you have a case that is already generating some ethical issues. This was a Malaysian guy, and the family was pressing a lot because he's going 25 and he should be married, and he was receiving a lot of pressure. So he was so fed up that she created his girlfriend with Midjourney, I think, and he put this picture on the network, so the family stopped the pressure, okay? So the girl is fake, okay? And this opens the field to things. So when we are able to create fake, hyper-realistic images, when we can create hyper-realistic videos which are fake and that can imitate even the tone of the voice of a particular person, and we can make this video talking about things that are totally fake, we enter in all this field of disinformation that is creating a little bit of problems. No? When we are talking about this kind of uses of this generative AI, I mean, it's personal issue, blah, blah, blah. When we use the same technique to create a picture of Trump and Kamala Harris in a sunset in Miami 2 days before an election, the impact of that thing has other ethical implications, which are very, very different and that are crossing the red line of manipulating the vote intention in that case. That is very, very critical for democratic development. Not? So basically, this generative AI is composed with two deep neural networks. One is in front of a problem generating a lot of solutions in a frenetic way, and it is sending these possible solutions to the other neural network that decides which of them can be shown to the user or not. So that's why it produces so nice results, because we only see the filtering of many, many, many internal trials that the other machine has been doing before answering us. This happens in very few seconds. ChatGPT, that's based on text, has horrible figures, no? So 180 million users, 78,000 kilowatts hour. That's non-sustainable at all. So when we are using it to understand how we have to cure the cancer, that's nice. When we are using it to write the Christmas message for my aunt in next week, maybe it's not that nice. So we need to start about this rationalization of the use of this kind of techniques that are so expensive in terms of sustainability. And the other thing that's very important is that this is a model and has a very high performance that might be 99%, 99%, but it will never be 100%. It means that in a particular percentage of the cases, it is wrong. So we never can get the results of these kind of things as if it was the truth. They have no elements to guarantee veracity in the model of this generative AI. So when we are talking about using it as a tool to inspire, to collaborate without in the creative activities, that's good. There is no problem on that. When we are using it to write a report, then we need to verify very well that their answers are not wrong, are not invented. In fact, it is inventing almost everything she does. This is the way, I will not take too much time on that, but this is the way it is working. Basically, if we are thinking about a text, we query the system with a prompt, and it basically uses this generative AI to, to build an answer like a boy, like a kid, uses intuition to construct sentences. So you have 3 words, and a kid says, what's the word that fits better in this. And it puts something that sometimes makes us laugh because he's not understanding the thing, no? That's what happened with generative AI. It doesn't understand a word of what we ask. It doesn't understand a word of she answers or it answers, no? So we have to be very, very careful with the veracity of the things that she's producing. In that moment, there is a lot of applications on, for example, building bots. And it's true that the capacity of having natural communication is very high. This will probably change very much how we interact with machines in the future years, and will break an important part of the digital gap. And the risk of info leaks is very, very high. So we have to know if when we are interacting with these kind of things, if they are blocked and they are sending our prompts to the general brain that is learning and using all these things for future answers to other users or not. In that case, we enter into a risk of our ideas being taken by some others, no? So, and this has happened, and in particular it has happened with industrial secrets and has created a lot of damage. Another idea is which kind of things we can do with this ChatGPT when we are talking about text, for example, that are more or less sure and that has low risk. So if we use it to answer questions, we have to verify all the time. But if we use it to synthesize a document, no? It does very good synthesis of documents, and this can help us a lot to consume a lot of information in shorter times. But we have to think all the time if my questions can be fitting answers of others and the configuration of my version of the ChatGPT, and if I am asking something that might be might create problems if it leaks to other users. So this is something that we have to question ourselves all the time. If we used to translate text, it is working better and better and better and better. There are other tools that are not the ChatGPT. Here in Catalonia, we have the AINA project that's generating resources specific for Catalan, and they are working very well. And you can give them a set of bullets and ask that she writes a paragraph following this rationale. And this she does very well as well. She can classify text, she can design a web, she can put data in a table, she can make a lot of things. But whenever you ask to answer questions, she becomes creative and she invents, okay? And finally, I'm about to finish, when we are talking about the cultural industries, we can make a use of AI in many, many different places. So it can, of course, work in the world of music. So, and this is an old use of AI in music. All the people that is composer and makes the music for films and these things are assisted by AIs for more than 10 years ago. And when we are talking about painting, all these DALI and similar tools have been making like a disruption. No? So the activity of I was interacting some time ago with a sculptor, and he said, I have a private version totally blocked in my computer, not connected and everything. And when I am in a creative activity, what I do is to establish a dialogue with it. So I see my sculpture when I have what I want in this image. For me, making it is much more easy. No? So when we are using it as a colleague, let's say, or as an assistant for the creative activity, this helps, and this should become, in my view, like other technologies that has been appearing along the years. I mean, Photoshop was ruling something similar some years ago, and it is also an AI that is helping us with the images, for example. No. It can write, so it can also assist a journalist. I mean, a journalist in that moment might send some ideas and tell, write me the paper or write me the news, no? And then you have to review. Of course you have to review, but you save some significant time doing that. Yeah, sure. And this is transferable to any other kind of field. I mean, it is not only the audiovisual in the industry. When we are talking about cuisine, it can also help to create new recipes if we move this creative capacity to the field of cuisine, for example. So we can think about any kind of artistic activity. And it is also all these other fields where AI is prescribing contents. This is a little bit the dark part, no? Because we have been assisting to all these recommenders on Netflix, Spotify, and all these kind of things. So we can go to more hyper-personalized recommendations that might be for the specific person and all this kind of thing. And here we have all those debate about what is marketing, what is trying to modify the intention of the people. So here in Europe we have this European regulation on AI that is forbidding any application on AI that is trying to manipulate the intention of the persons. And I wonder how will we find the frontier between marketing and manipulation, because in my view marketing is nothing else than making you buy what you don't need, no? And this is manipulation or not? So we will have these problems now, and and it is very famous now. All this capacity to create videos for advertisements, dissemination, marketing campaigns, ¿cómo es diu? Una hostess that are totally fake, and they give you the welcome to a conference and whatever it is. So everything is on this field. There is also this debate about what happens with intellectual property, and our view in this moment is that we will have to move to new models of intellectual property rights, because now the way of creation has been changing so much that we need to know that the current models are overcome by the technological reality, but how it happens, the inspiration and the creation when you are assisted by these tools. So we need to find other models of maybe collaborative intellectual property rights, and I don't know if after the years, according to the weight that paintings from Goya has in your creation, their inheritors must receive 2 cents every 2 years. I don't know, but we have to think about this kind of collaborative intellectual property, no? And finally, as all disruptive technologies, we have these dilemmas, no? So all the disruptive technologies has very positive uses and very negative ones. So when we are using Gen AI to reconstruct a film from the 60s that has been damaged in a fire, that's nice. When we use to create a fake, that's not nice. The technology is the same, right? And the problem is that I mean, Europe has been the first one to open this debate about human rights and preservation of the human rights and this ethical view of artificial intelligence that must be human-centered, for good, and trustworthy. And in the 2019 was creating this European model from an ethical development of AI. That's the paradigm inside all the European AI applications should fit. We have also our own version in Catalonia and in Spain and other countries in Europe. But it is important to understand that only a part of this ethical model has been normatized in the European regulation on AI. So when we are talking about compliance, you take your application, you give to your lawyers, and they check if it is compliant with the current active laws. So in Europe, for example, for the last 4 years, we have been creating the law. Everybody knew the text, but in the compliance procedures, nobody was taking it into account until 1st August last year. Okay? And not all the ethical principles are collected in the law, only a subset. So it might happen that you have a legal artificial intelligence that is unethical. And here you have a very short example, and I will close after that. This lady is a very important researcher at MIT. One day she discovers that her cell phone doesn't see her when she tries to use the facial recognition. And she discovers that their facial recognition algorithm has been trained with white males, and it is not wrong with her. It is unable to see. She cannot even see any dark person. So she has to use a plastic white mask in order to enter with the facial recognition in his in his cell phone. No? So this is totally unethical, and it is not only legal, this is a commercial product. It is in the market, you buy it. Nobody tells you that you buy something that it doesn't work 100% for you. You don't receive a discount because there is a 20% of tools that are not available for you. So, and this still has not been solved in many of the cell phones that are in the market. So when we are talking about ethics and we are talking about legality is according to the political ideology of the current governments, basically, no? And ethics is something that is associated with other kind of values, and in this moment what we think is that we will not, well, these are general recommendations for adopting AI in a safe way. But we are putting a lot of expectations in the European regulation on AI, and this will not solve the problem, because when an AI dysfunctions, the damage is very, very big, and then the law can make sanctions and everything. But in the middle, the damage is already irreversible for millions of persons, no? So we need to work a lot on the ontology and ethical values of the persons that are interacting with the AI. That means creators, those that buy to install and adopt in their organizations, but also those that consume AI. So everybody has to develop a basic culture on the field and make this elevation of the consciousness to move to the responsible use, creation and development and adoption and everything. And that's what we need to do. Otherwise, law will not be so capable to identify the things in a preventive way. And this is too big, and damages grow too fast and too high dimension to wait to put the sanctions afterwards. That's the message. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Karina. I realized that I didn't present myself before. Sorry for that. I'm Marco Rendina, and I'm wearing two hats today. One is as EUscreen board member and senior consultant at Cinecittà in Rome, and I'm also working for the European Fashion Heritage Association. And in relation to what you were saying, last point, we had a real case, a real problem of this kind, because this summer in one of our members' institution, the Central Museum in Utrecht, we deployed a digital mirror with a virtual try-on app in which people could go in front of the mirror, of this digital mirror, a monitor, a touchscreen monitor, and virtually wear hats from the Central Museum collections. So they could pick one and just wear it. And you can take a selfie of yourself and send it to your email and so on. And unfortunately, at some point, some of the visitors came back to the museum saying, my son was a dark-skinned kid,
and was not
working because his face was not recognized, and so he couldn't virtually wear the hat. And so the poor kid was not able to take a selfie with this.
That's a bias on the training set.
This was terrible. We were using a SDK from Snapchat, the camera kit from Snapchat. We contacted Snap, and they say that they solved this issue in their own application, but not yet in the SDK. So they were aware of this, but they were working on it, they were saying. And so this is a real, I mean, it happened in the cultural ages sector, cases in which these kind of biases unfortunately affect the user experience and affect very negatively also the museum itself, because of course in terms of reputation then you get a big hit.
That's the damage. I
Yeah.
mean, the size of the damage.
Okay, yeah, I have to switch back. Sorry guys for me you standing.
No.
So we will have now a duo presentation, duo act, and we have here Rafa Bermudez. You have seen him, heard about him yesterday also already. He's responsible for technological research project at Rescat. He holds a degree in telecommunication engineering from UPC, and as well as a master degree in cybersecurity and another one in open source software from UOC. And we have also Arnau Serra. He coordinates the Catalonia's artificial intelligence strategy, Catalonia.ai, through which the government of Catalonia contributes to strengthening the region ecosystem, positioning AI as an international hub for knowledge generation. They will talk about practical implementation, so practical problems regarding ethical AI, and the title of the presentation is Implementing Responsible AI, Practical Approaches in Action. So, Arnau, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and this goes like this.
Yeah,
Okay.
should be.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having us, and a pleasure to share with you, Rafa, this floor. And I will give you just a brief context information and framework of what we do here in Catalonia regarding AI, and then Rafa will explain a little bit more about these practical applications that Marco was mentioning. I will try to be quick because I think we have not much time. Just some figures. I want you to look not at the big figures, but the little text under these figures, which is the most important thing. Nearly triple compared to last study in 2019 about the number of companies that we have here in Catalonia that work with AI. Incomes also 60% more than 5 years ago. It's nearly 1% of the GDP of Catalonia. And 71% more than 5 years ago, number of people working in these companies that deploy AI. So and much of this happened in the last 2 years since the end of 2022 with AI, with Gen AI that Karina was talking about before. Just some framework. What we do with this strategy in Catalonia, we try to, as Marco was introducing, we want to promote the implementation of AI in Catalonia, but implement trustworthy AI, not just let's do AI and so on, but we care of doing it well, doing it right. So we work around these 4 pillars, these main 4 pillars. We try to promote scientific research, talent, and acceleration of this research. We also work with research centers, with private companies and public organizations to develop and validate and transfer this technology to promote this innovation. We also have a community of startups, mainly startups that develop these AI solutions. And last but not least, of course, we have this observatory on ethics and in AI of Catalonia, in which Karina is a proud member of the advisory board of this observatory. 3CAT is a member of the second pillar, leading very interesting projects, innovation projects with AI, with trustworthy AI, I should say. And let me just talk you a bit of this last pillar, the observatory. It does all of that, but I want to focus on the main use that we have with this observatory, which is a tool, a self-assessment tool, in which any organization, private, public organization, can go there. It's free, it's open, and check if they are doing it right with AI. Not only regarding basic ethical principles, but also regarding the current regulation on AI. As Karina said, it's not only about regulation, it's also and mostly about what we want to this AI be like. So we work on that with this observatory. And just let me give you a brief. Oh, it's not right. This is an alliance, an international alliance of regional governments around the world that not only have outstanding AI ecosystems, but also care about promoting trustworthy AI. The first meeting that we had with this alliance happened in Barcelona, next to the Smart City Expo, and we proposed this manifesto for advancing trustworthy AI that any organization can sign and agree upon. So and just this brief information, and I'll give the floor to Rafa.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm not supposed to be here, but I will do my best. I will follow the notes. I will be presenting our effort to implement responsible AI in 3CAT. It started at the beginning of the year. A member of our board wake up early at 11 maybe and think that it would be a good idea to create that committee of AI, because she was detecting that the AI tools were a big vat of math, and we have to do something, and we have to follow the recommendation of our external experts. We create that committee. That committee, the main purpose of that committee is ensure the compliance with ethical guidelines and with the law. This committee will provide risk and biases analysis, and they will not prohibit the usage of any tool. They just only made that analysis, and it's supported by an external expert committee formed by renowned experts from academia and industry. They are over there, I think. Karina, Jordi. This committee defined a protocol with 4 pillars. Transparency, explainability, accountability, human supervision, dissemination, and fairness. We also appoint super users in each department to ensure that AI protocol works. These people play a super important role. They are responsible for protocol adherence, and they are also the point of contact for AI-related concerns. You have to talk with them if you have any problem with AI or you have any question. We also create another key tool. It's the Responsible AI form, which all employees that want to use an AI-based tool should fill. This form will allow us to track AI usage and ensures the compliance with ethical guidelines. We know that AI is hard, so we create that training awareness campaign. We create a comprehensive. It's hard to explain because people start to be a little tired of the training. We make a very dense training course for 5-6 months, and these courses was delivered by experts, and the topics was about transparency, fairness, and bias mitigation. We also create another tool that it's a contest. We promote innovation while adhering to ethical standards. We have introduced the Responsible AI contest, and this is we have made the first edition of the contest. The prizes was a car or holidays, I don't remember. Nah, I'm kidding. I don't know exactly what it is. and this start to work, and follow me in that performance. One user from image department find a very nice tool that he can use to create generative AI, generative image. It's really cool. This user, it's aware that that kind of tools has some ethical issues, may have some ethical issues. So he consults with the super user of his department, and the super user help help that user to fill that form. That form make that all that information flow to the committee. The committee consults to the external experts. The external experts may recommend that we made some internal study. We made that internal study, and we come up to the user that make the question with the solution and with alternatives. Maybe that tool that the user choose was not adequate. Maybe we present some alternative to make the same work. And this is what we do with the first point, the study of tool for image editing with generative AI. This also made us to discuss, we open a discussion inside the newsroom, how we can handle the AI, how can we disseminate AI to our audience. And this is what committee does. And we also include some clauses, this is a really nice point, we include some clauses inside the contracts with external production campaigns in order to align what we do, our ethical view, with what we buy. We buy something, we need that they are aligned with our view. And the last point, the conclusions. All that protocol, all that framework made a really positive impact on AI usage. We increased the awareness of ethical considerations. We increased the strength and culture of responsibility, and this is an ongoing process. Our commitment for the future. We want to continuous improvement. We want to make more training and updates. I say that we are a little tired. Maybe we have to wait some months to to restart all that training, but we want to continue with that. And we are going to make a future AI contest for our audience. And that's all. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Rafa, and thanks, Arnau. You were fantastic keeping the time. I would like to ask you to pin down your question eventually, and at the end of the session, so after the last presentation, we will open up the floor to you, and you can make your question. Now, I wanted to introduce to you a colleague and a friend, Kerstin Herlt, which is a project manager at the digital department at DFF, the Deutsches Filminstitut and Filmmuseum in Frankfurt. She's the coordinator of the European-funded project The Bias, of which she will tell about it in a second, right?
Yes. Thank you for having me here. Thank you, the organizers of this symposium. It has been very interesting so far. What I'm going to present today to you is a very hands-on project which uses AI to a very small extent, I would say. Yes, I would like to start off with a couple of facts about our project, and as Rafa, I'm using a script. So we are co-funded by the European Commission, the Digital Europe program. We are almost finished, so the project ends in December, so 31st of December, which gives us a little bit of a hard time because we did not yet finish all the issues. The idea is that the outputs of the project will enrich the offer of the data space for cultural heritage. The outputs will also implement it in Europeana, hopefully. And we are all in all 11 partners You can see here again, Sound and Vision is a partner in the project, and most of the partners are aggregators for Europeana, either domain, thematic, or national ones. We have 2 technical partners for developing the tool. This is ThinkCode and Datoptron. We have a community engagement expert, which is Ecom from Italia, and we have a research partner, the Catholic University of Leuven. So what are our objectives? What it's about? So when we drafted the proposal, we wanted to build an AI-supported tool to detect and flag problematic terms in cultural heritage collections. For that, we needed a vocabulary with these contentious terms, and we wanted that vocabulary to be contextualized and provide also suggestions for alternative terms if appropriate. From the beginning on, we knew that we need strong relationships with the communities, with the minority communities that are impacted by derogatory language in the collection descriptions, and help us in co-creating the vocabulary. We have developed a methodology for that to engage with the communities, and we have also developed a framework to analyze types of bias in Europeana collection, but also other cultural heritage collections. And we do a lot of capacity building in the sector. So what is bias in? So where did we start? In 2020, we as DFF were addressed by a group of association of Sinti and Roma, and they were flagging this description. So they said, this is what you can read here: in the mountain forests of the Balkans lies a small but important border fortress that the enemy wants to spy on in order to conquer it. Sidra, the most beautiful flower of a gypsy tribe, is used as a spy with a surrounding effect. So, and then we got the message that we got from this association was, hello, we would like to have a conversation with you about the impact of propaganda films and the role of Sinti and Roma. This description corresponds to the usual stereotypes. We would like to discuss this with you. And then we agreed to contextualize the film and adding this sentence. So the film resonates with the nationalist sentiments typical of the First World War period and anti-Ziganist stereotypes. So that's, but of course that's not a method you can use to contextualize millions of objects. And that's why we then decided to make a proposal together with the group of aggregators, and we had the chance to win it. So where does linguistic bias occur in your data? So of course it can occur in the descriptions, as you can see here. I tried to find out audiovisual content, but this project is of course not limited to the audiovisual sector. It covers all the sectors because it's about description or metadata. And it is a slide you have seen yesterday from Valentin. It can occur in the keywords. You can read here primitive knowledge or witch doctor, and of course in the titles. And that are the metadata fields the tool is searching on. We developed together with the University of Leuven the typology of bias, because we needed a framework to analyze bias, a sort of theoretical framework. This typology also proposes a classification. There are several categories of bias, like sex, gender, race, and ethnicity, but there are also shades of bias, for example, euphemisms or derogatory language, omissions, erasure. One example for euphemism, at least in Germany, would be Kristallnacht, which now you would rather say November pogrom. So just because Kristallnacht, Crystal Night sounds nice, but it wasn't nice at all. So, and this typology is now published. You can check it out and read it. So why is it important to work with the communities? I've showed you the example from our institution, and that we have been contacted by the Sinti and Roma Association. And this, in fact, was for us from the beginning the focus of our approach, that we would have this collaboration with the different communities. And you can see, what you can see here are the three, let's say, the three topics the vocabulary is covering. So migration and colonialism, gender and sexual identity, ethnicity and ethno-religious identity. We have added some other areas like disability as well, but these are the three topics we've been working with the communities. Most of the partners already had relationships with these communities through different contexts, and it was then easier to build on these connections. So what we meant when we say working with communities, we carried out a total of 12 workshops. None of them followed a rigid setup, but we were very mindful to adapt the approach to the needs of the communities and groups. To find a meaningful approach, we had community members who acted as facilitators, and they ran the workshop for us. And what all the workshops had in common, that we would like to gather the perspective of the communities, how to describe objects in our collection description in a meaningful and appropriate way. Yeah. One important resource was then the methodology. This is a kind of quick overview of the different workshops we had. I don't want to go into details here, but we then came up with a methodology, which is also available as a resource for interested CHIs. So now coming to the vocabulary. So this is an excerpt of our vocabulary. It's an example. We did not compile it solely with the work and the input from the communities. We used existing resources, inclusive glossaries, inclusive thesauri, what you can see here on the right side. I think I would need to explain a little bit the different fields. So if you have here, of course, the contentious labels. Then you have the contentious issue description on the left side, which is very important also for the tool to detect these terms. Then you have suggestion description, which means it's a kind of recommendation whether you can use the term or not and in which content. If there's an alternative, you can use it as well. I will be quick. And then you have the different categories which you can attach to the term. What is very important is the disambiguation field. I will come back to this later in the next 5 minutes. So the disambiguation is needed because some terms are contentious in one context but not contentious in another one. So our example that we use very frequently is exotic, but there are more examples which you can use when it refers to plants and animals, but you wouldn't use exotic referring to a person. Yes. This is, before that was the human readable format. This is now the machine readable format. That's the vocabulary, how it is used by the tool. It has been transformed into a knowledge graph, but it follows, as you can see, the elements from the Excel file, and it is now also available or hosted and managed by the Workbench. Workbench is the EU vocabulary environment, which really helps us to sustain and manage the vocabulary. So, and the tool. So that's how the tool is working. So you have first the different elements. You can include here a snippet of a text or a whole sentence or words. Then that's called tokenization. So you split the text in meaningful elements. Then the lemmatization will break down then the word to its roots, which for us was not always easy to understand what these roots are really of a word. Yeah, that's one point we would have needed more linguists in our project. Then we apply named entity recognition, so we don't want the tool to flag named entities such as person or names. That's why we needed that feature. And then again, the large language models came into place because of the disambiguation. We need them for disambiguating the terms. Yes. Did I forgot for something? Oh, Marco? No, I think that's good. So that's the tool is available. We have the tool available as a standalone tool. It's only integrated into the Europeana Metis sandbox, and you can read it via this API. It's also available on the AI for Culture platform. And 2 minutes about the validation campaign. So that's, of course, we needed to validate the annotations, and we invited experts from the CHIs, but also community members to do this niche validation. It's not a crowdsourcing, it was kind of niche sourcing to validate these terms on crowd heritage. The platform was adapted to our needs, and that's what we wanted the users to do, is to validate the performance of the tool. So we wanted them to check whether the tool flags the terms according to what is to the context and what is set out in the vocabulary. We didn't ask them to validate whether they consider a term contentious or not. It was sometimes not so easy to explain, but I think they did it very well. And as you can see here, we have these 2 terms like tribe and Eskimo, and they have been all upvoted. This is an evaluation. This is where we had some difficulties. Of course, for some cases it's very clear. So you have 10 upvotes and 0 downvotes, or 6 upvotes and 0 downvotes. But there are cases where you have 5 upvotes and 5 downvotes. And then we have decided that we go through the annotations manually, case by case, and then decide whether this is whether it should be a no or yes. Because sometimes really the users did not fully understand the task that they had to do. So they flagged, for example, they didn't flag derogatory terms. If the tool flagged a term in a in an object title, they thought that this would be wrong, but that's not the case. So if there is a word like Dostoevsky's The Idiot, if that's in the title, it would be flagged as well, and that's correct. So we cannot make this distinction. So all these kind of tasks are now completed. And maybe a few challenges we faced with the disambiguation. It was not always easy to decide which context the tool would need to really disambiguate. That was not always clear. I mean, in cases like exotic, it was clear, but First World and First World War, I mean, it flags First World War, it flags First World and First World War, but what kind of meaningful description can you give to that the tool distinguishes that? That was not, for us, difficult to understand, and we also I learned that these large language models are really black boxes. So you really don't know what kind of context they need. You don't really know how they work and perform. Then our vocabulary is both used for machines, so for the tool, but we also want the vocabulary to be used in a kind of, we have it available as PDF. We want that anyone can use it, even people who are not so technical minded. And then that's also kind of mismatch between what information can we give to the users, what information does the tool need. We also decided to exclude some terms from the tool, but keep it in the vocabulary. Like the term Zionist, for example, if we look it up on Europeana, the use is quite correct. But if we want to, but there are other uses of other contexts, for example, on social media, where Zionist is often used in a very conspiracy context. So we would like the vocabulary to serve different needs. Reappropriation of terms by communities such as queer as gay. This is also was not such an easy task to put it on the vocabulary with a meaningful explanation. And of course, sustainability. But on this, we are working on it. We have as I said, it's the maintenance guaranteed by, I'm ready, Workbench, and we will also work on it in the upcoming years. I think that's it. No, I don't show you the end user mock-up. I'll show you the next time. Yeah. Now we have 660 terms. Maybe that's important to know. Yeah. And you can have all the outcomes of the project on the Europeana website. Also recommendations for CHIs and policymakers. Now I'm ready. Sorry for being...
Thank you, Kerstin. Thank you very much, Kerstin. And now I would like to open the floor to questions for all the three presentations we have seen. So here, I think.
This is a question for the BS project. How do you make sure that the options, that the vocabulary that you propose to substitute the problematic words are not also biased? Because, for example, I saw the prostitution versus sex worker. I mean, no, it's not my personal opinion, but I know that, for example, many feminists are against the use of sexual worker because this may reduce problematic that affects and discriminates women, blah, 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 blah. So maybe the fact that you use sex worker to substitute prostitute, it's already a very biased terminology.
Yes. Is it on? Yes. This is a discussion, we had lengthy discussions about that in the project. As I said, we are referring either on the existing glossaries. We had discussions in the co-creation workshops, and then I guess because that was not a topic, maybe Marco can say a bit more about these terms. At least at the end there wasn't consensus about that. But of course we are all aware that language is in flux. There will be changes in languages. There is no polyvocality among the communities. Among us as consortium members are different opinions. We had a lengthy discussion whether we can use the term dwarf in a fairy tale context or whether it's also problematic. So, because we said in the beginning, dwarf is, of course, you cannot use it when it refers to people, but you could maybe use it if it's about fairy tales. So, so we had these discussions. And as I said, it's just, this is a living thing, and the terms and context will change in the future.
So you basically discussed like word by word in workshops.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I wanted to just to make a puntualization. We are not substituting anything.
No, that's true. Maybe I should.
So we just flag.
Yeah.
So it's not about substituting and rewriting history and erasing the bias and putting in a right context. We don't have this mission, even if some from our partners would like to do that. But we are just highlighting the terms and giving contextual information. So the fact that this term could be abusive or could be outdated, and actually the right formulation could be this one. But it's so. This is the first thing. We don't replace the word, and we don't change Dostoevsky idiot with a new title which is politically correct. We are just flagging the terms that appears in the metadata of Europeana in this case, or the metadata of any institutions, flagging the terms, highlighting the terms that we detect as, well, our tool detect as problematic.
Yeah.
Once they are detected, like people from
They are highlighted, and this is the part that
maybe we can show the 2 slides, or it's too late now.
Yes, you can go.
Please add one more thing,
Just
because I'm practically biased.
Go, Kerstin.
The vocabulary is being built in a way to be sustainable. Because we do know that language evolve, so the vocabulary has been built in a way that we can replace terms and make new suggestions according to how the times evolve.
This is how it look like.
Yes. You know, and then you have seen the little icon here beside the word tribe, and if you hover the mouse over it, then you will get, this will pop up. And that's what you have seen on the Excel sheet. That's the contextualization. And if you want to read more, you will get the full...
Go back, we wanted to show...
Oh, sorry. You... Thank you very much. And then you have the full information.
And the vocabulary is published openly, so we intend to keep an editorial committee that is working on it and updating it, adjusting it, because like Chiara was saying, language evolves, so something that today is kind of okay, tomorrow cannot be anymore, or the other way around. So this problem of appropriation was something that we faced. So in some communities, some terms have been reappropriated by the community, but I think also in that cases, it's good to highlight it. So also for the dwarf thing, we have an extensive discussion if Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is fine, or if also in this case we should flag it. And it's really a matter of...
It's a generational issue as well, because Marco and I, we would say...
I'm older and I would say, yeah, it's fine.
Fairy tales, but younger people would say, no, not even for fairy tales.
People much younger than me in my organization would say, no, I mean, no, it's not right, we should flag it. And to be honest, Disney also changed the title.
Yeah.
Now the title is Snow White, it's not Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Berber?
Yes, thanks so much to all the speakers. And I was also reminded with this discussion of yesterday's presentation by Xavier from INA, who also showed another example of how to flag and give context. My question is for any of the speakers, because we are in such a wonderful network in which many languages are represented. And I just wondered if you could share an example from any of your works in which you deal with this challenge of multiple languages and translation. So maybe if you could share an example of how you dealt with this challenge.
Okay. I don't know if it is on yet. We are very lucky to have here the Barcelona Supercomputing Center, which is one of the top 20 world supercomputers. And from the government of Catalonia, we are very aware of this matter, that non-global languages have a very steep way in the digital world and other worlds, but in the digital also. And we have this AINA project with which we collaborate with the Barcelona Supercomputing Center to provide open source large language models that guarantee that the Catalan language is also there. But they can work with other non-global languages, and also we know how these large language models are trained. They can be explained. They are compliant with the AI Act and so on, and they are sorry, they are open to anyone, which is a great thing because it's very expensive to develop this kind of language models, and yes, we are working on that because we are really aware of this matter, and we should collaborate with all other non-global languages or regions that have this trouble. So yeah, it's very important, this thing. Yeah.
When we are talking about languages, there are like many different ways to address the thing. So when you are talking about translation or transcription, you can either go text to text, voice to voice, voice to text, text to voice, no? And the text to text tools tended to be a little bit more developed than the ones that work with voice. So for many years, we have been using a transcriptor that moves from voice to text, from text in one language to text in another language, and from text in another language to voice, no? And in AINA, they are working the voice-to-voice tool as well. And the other relevant thing is that they are not using English as a pivotal language, because when you move, I mean, you have a lot of tools that translate any language to English or English to any language, and then for years we have been going from, I don't know, from Russian to English, from English to Catalan, and from, no? And when you pivot, you lose a lot of matisos, com es diu? I mean, nuances in the translation. So you get a translated text that is much more, how to say, much more poor, no? So synthesizing a text, extracting the main titles of a news and all these things. If you pivot through English, you lose a lot. So one of the nice things that AINA is solving is that you eliminate English from being the central pivotal language of any multilingual approach. That's very nice.
Let me give a more industrial view or more practical view. I think that translation to Catalan is solved in a closed models, in a closed solutions, and I think that we have to work with universities and that kind of entities to have an open source solution, but it's solved in a closed solution. It's not solved. The translation and work with Aranès. Aranès is an idiom from a region in Catalonia, it's a Val d'Aran, and we have problem with that. And I think that it will never be solved by a big tech. We have solved it.
But for example, you were asking on real applications, no? So a couple of things that we do every year. We are the ambassadors in Barcelona from the Women in Data Science, so we have a big event. And what I do is that the event happens in Catalan, and we record it, no? And we have this AI system that is transcribing in subtitles in real time all the people that is working during the sessions. So the worldwide network can attend, and they listen in Catalan, but they can read on their own language because they just choose his language, and the AI is translating in all the languages at the same time. When you are doing this with Google Tools, for example, you cannot use the Catalan as the source language yet. So that's where tools as AINA, for example, helps. No? And the other thing we have been doing is to use the same kind of technique, if you want, to internationalize an e-learning program on training female on AI, for example. So our teachers teach in Catalan, and now people in other sides of the world can follow the course because they have the subtitles and all the materials translated by an AI on site, let's say. No? So these kind of things. We didn't move to creating the fake where the video of the teacher is talking in English, but I think this will be the next step.
Thank you. My Italian, sorry, Kerstin.
Yes, I just wanted to add, because I think I didn't mention that our vocabulary is available in 5 languages, so English, Italian, Dutch, French, German. And of course, we did not translate the terms from one language into another. So they are different terms. So that wouldn't be possible. And for the large language models, I think they had huge problems with Dutch. Johan mentioned that yesterday already. So they didn't work very well, in particular for the composite words. So that's something that they need to learn still. Yeah.
See, I was mentioning, and I have I've been killed by the eyes of my colleague here, Laura. I mean, my Italian nature would go on for another 15 minutes over time without any worry. But I have my Dutch colleague here that is keeping the time. I already get a yellow card and now a red card. So yeah. So basically, we can continue with the question over a coffee outside. We have a coffee break now. Till 12:30, so 20 minutes coffee break, and you can grab one of the speakers and offer a croissant and make your questions. Thank you very much for, and thanks to all the speakers.
flower.